Hey there YouTube, I'm Ikitsu, this is Ikitsu Times, welcome to my channel, welcome to some Crying Suns. So, taking a bit of a break from Age of Wonders Planetfall for just a little bit. I've been playing a lot of that, and yeah, it's one of those games where if you play too much of it, your brain explodes. So, in any event, I picked up Crying Suns as, as well as Space Haven on Steam sales, so both those games are something that takes some inspiration from FTL. Crying Suns by far is the one that takes more inspiration from FTL, whereas I think that RimWorld is the bigger inspiration from what I've seen so far of Space Haven, but both of them sort of have that element to it. I want to sort of play them, compare and contrast kind of thing there. Both of them are about sort of running from sector to sector, gathering up the resources that you can so you can survive the next place that you go to. So I have actually played this, but I did a hard data reset of it. I still have the achievements, I think, but I basically have gotten to like chapter 3 or whatever. All the chapters are pretty similar in terms of the core gameplay loop and difficulty, and I did it on hard, but I don't really think that the game's as interesting on hard. I think it's a little bit more kind of ridiculous in terms of the RNG on hard difficulty, whereas on normal difficulty, your decisions are more likely to be what decides whether you win or lose. Okay, so Ellis, Idaho, where am I? A dwarf planet on the Outer Rim. Most call it Gehenna, if they call it anything at all. This, Admiral, is a top-secret cloning facility for the Imperial Forces, the one and only of its kind. I'm Caliban, its Omni Guardian. Now, there's a shit ton of text in this game, and I will be brushing through a lot of it. I'll tell you guys what they're saying, because like I said, I've beaten this part, but I don't really feel like I need to go through it all. You have died, Admiral, or to put it another way, the true version of you has died. You are his clone, identical to the original Ellis, Idaho in every possible way, with some minor differences. When did Admiral Idaho die? How? Unfortunately, I do not know the details of my clones' lives, as interesting as they must be. Extraneous to my directives, I believe. Which leads me to why I've woken you. You must be curious, after all. I need your help. A machine asking for my help. Now I truly feel strange. Not just a machine, Admiral, an Omni. Short for Omni-Mechanical Neo and Intelligence Emperor Oberon invented us. Now your kind relies on us for just about everything. I'll come right out with it. I believe the Empire is in danger. In danger? What in the name of Oberon are you talking about? Once every 4 years, under the most secretive of protocols, I receive a single transmission from Elysium, our capital. Those transmissions stopped arriving. So you send a transmission yourself? That's just that I can't. This facility was built in such a way to prevent from initializing contact with the Empire to help keep it secret. Something is wrong, I'm certain of it, and I've woken you so that we can fly out of here in an Omega-class battleship no less and see for ourselves. Now, one of the things that sort of bugs me about this game is that this conceit of this as an FTL-like game is that you're expected to sort of fail a lot, in all honesty. Now, what sort of happens is that they just create a new clone of Ellis, Idaho, as well as this guy comes along with you every time, and you get a whole new battleship, and you set out to try it again, and you do this over and over and over until you find a way to beat the game. Now, he needs, like, the pilots and stuff like that, because these machines were created with limitations set on them, so they couldn't fight wars, to prevent, like, a robot uprising kind of thing there. So, they're bringing the crew of it's not just him, actually, it's like the entire crew is clones of people who are, like, considered the best of the best in the old sort of whatever. So, that's sort of the thing that's important. Also, he's supposed to try and remember, like, an emotional memory, but he can't. Those apparently do not transfer over in the cloning experience. For some reason, it's really important to him. I have not gotten that far in the plot yet. So anyway, he wants to be called Caliban, blah, 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 that's fine. And yeah, so we've started out here. So every sector that we go through, every full, like, chapter that we go through, we get a new ship unlocked, and you can see the different types here. You start off with just access to the Excelsior class. This is your sort of starting Imperial ship there. These are the resources that you have there. If we go on easy, we get plus resources. We get actually also more hull and stuff like that. We get more upgrades. On normal difficulty, standard sort of amount there, and on hard, you get way less scrap at the start, and you also get a lot less from drops, and the fights are all more difficult. It's actually pretty possible to do it on hard, but you get a lot of sort of missions where you just don't get the right drops and you cannot win. Where I like, even in retrospect, thinking back on it, I don't think there's any way that I could have won some of those runs. Whereas on normal, that doesn't tend to happen. We also get to bring along 2 of our officers, and they sort of have whatever it is. Oh, geez, these are really bad. Ah, God. Okay, so one of the problems here is that I don't have access to pilot, but we'll sort of get by. Okay, so in my opinion, erudition and mechanical, or engineering rather, and this one are probably going to be our best. This is a fighter and a weapon thing. You can see that these guys have a bunch of different sort of bonus types that you can get access to. There's also specialists down here that you can potentially get. The reason that I like having access to the piloting skill so much, that's this one up here, is that one of the quests that lets you unlock one of these guys usually requires piloting, but we have no combat, we have no piloting, we have no demolitions, and I know this is going to be bad for us, but we're on normal difficulty, so we should be able to get through this just fine. Anyway, you select your ship, you select your crew, you select your difficulty, and you sort of go through. So this is the sector of the Outer Rim. I'm not picking up any other Omnis. Even out here, I should be picking up dozens of them. Us trying to throw reactor machines, probably nothing the Empire's run flawlessly for how many years now? 700. And it will do so for hundreds more. Now come on, let's take a look around. So yeah, you basically get a map that's going to expand out here. For the tutorial, you only get this one. This is us going through warp. Every time we do this, we expend some fuel. These are fuel hubs that are around every single sun. It appears to be some kind of cube-like refinery, sir. It's a Neo-N hypercube. Neo-N is fuel. Ask Alban for... the reason I'm going to click through these is because I'm not actually sure if there's any events in this game that rely on you having heard this information in that particular playthrough. I don't think so. Anyway, Neo-N's just fuel. The FoldNet, this is basically the hyperspace internet as well as hyperspace highway system. The folders are what are used to travel between large distances through space. The beacons are basically the information internet. And the interstice is how you travel at faster than light speeds from planet to planet, as well as from star to star, just not the sort of distance that the folders get you. Honestly, like, folders is kind of like from that, I can't remember the name of that sci-fi movie, but it's that one where he, like, says that quantum tunneling is like folding a piece of paper, which is not exactly true, but it's more like collapsing the piece of paper so that the edges of it are shorter than the center, or the center of it shorter than it should be. Anyway, that's everything that we've got there. And let's go send a small team to go investigate this. Now, this is always the same. They find out that it's not working properly because the Omni's not working. The Omni are these things. They're just any sort of machine that runs something. The cube isn't connected to the FoldNet. Hasn't been connected in years. 10, 15 years. It's actually been 20. At least, sir, could the Empire have, I don't know, disconnected on purpose? I don't think so, Admiral. I'm not a cube Omni myself, but cubes are complex technique and constant supervision. Disconnecting would make that all but impossible. And the Neo-N level's empty, sir, but there's no Neo-N here whatsoever. That's fuel again. Blah, blah, blah. And he can actually just sort of, like, suck up the last little scraps that are in there. So that's something that he's capable of doing. Now, there's upgrades that we can get to our ship's scavenging capabilities, and unfortunately, during this tutorial-y part, we're not allowed to do it, so we're just gonna hit the scavenge button. I've never gotten more than one on our first scavenge. Like, it might be possible, but I don't think it is. While we're here, I'm just also gonna equip some stuff, so let's go ahead and pop these in here. And we had a squadron boost, and we had a weapon boost, so... Alright, so next up we hit our local system map, and we head over to here where something is going to happen. All of these happen in order, and they're all sort of mandatory. It's part of the tutorial. You get in a fight here with this, sir, battleship 12 o'clock. What kind of battleship, Lieutenant? Couldn't say, sir. I've never seen a ship like this in all my service. Incoming transmission. An Imperial battleship made from Telesec. My mouth is watering. This is Admiral Ellis. This is Admiral Idaho of the Imperial Fleet. Stand down, Captain. This is an Imperial sector you find yourself in. Imperial sector? That's funny, imp. Our fight battle is imminent. So we actually have 2 fighter bays, but we're only capable of deploying 1 right now. We've got our officers deployed, we've got our squadrons and our weapons all set. Like I said, you might as well just do that ahead of time, but... So what we're going to do here is make sure that our fighter's coming out at the right place. Fighters do better against drones, so you can see here, this has a bonus versus frigates. We have our fighter here that does bonus damage versus drones. Could also potentially put out a drone damage against frigates, and then frigates damage versus fighters. So it's that sort of rock, paper, scissors kind of thing. Alright, so now we've got everything set up, let's go ahead and hit unpause there, and we'll go ahead and send our fighters to go kill these drones. So just, whoops, wrong button. Go off and do that, and they'll engage one another, and since I've got that bonus damage against drones, we'll have an easy time taking them out. Next, we can send our fighters over towards their ship and deal damage directly to it. So you don't just have to use your weapons to deal damage to them, you can also deal damage the other way. Yeah, weapon is ready to fire. So we can go ahead and launch that there. I'm going to damage this because I don't want that system damage, just a good habit to get against this kind of ship here. They'll be dead long before I have to worry about that. And we got 52 scrap for killing them. What was that thing? I don't know, Lieutenant, and I'm not sure I want to either. So these guys are basically just like random Mad Max kind of scrappers is what they're called. And they basically just run around and loot stuff. Next up, we have to go to Godel. We've got theoretically the option to go to these other places, but in this, it forces you to go in order, so we can go to Godel over here now. And in this one, we're going to have a long-ass talk, I think. Actually, no, this one's different. So this one's an outpost. This is, again, just a little bit of lore. This is just standard military outpost, nothing too special about it. Try to make contact and fail. And we'll send a team of commandos over there. So they're going to pick up an Omni. It is going to be broken. And normally I would like to show you guys all this text, but there's so much of it, and the game really slogs when you're doing this. So he fucks this up there, and yeah, like, he knows that these things are not working properly anymore. So Caliban cannot reactivate Omnis, it's not something he's capable of doing. Positronic chips are the advanced quantum computing chips that are used in Omnis that make them as smart as they are. The positronic chip quota is that there's a specific number that the central government made and used them to control the other parts of the government. The Rubicon is basically the laws of robotics that these things have to follow, and the Neo-N is just fuel, so I think that's an old one. So pretty much stuff that we sort of can skip through pretty quickly there. Alright, so after that we just carry on. Nothing gained, nothing other than lore, and there's quite a lot of it that we gained from there. Alright, so over here we've got this little yellow icon that means that there's an anomaly, and in this case it's a ship. Anomalies can mean a wide variety of things, but you generally want to fly for anomalies because they're more likely to give you more resources. The average is that if you go for every anomaly you'll end up with more resources, even though there's some events that just cost resources and there's some that are, you know, just not very positive all in all, but you know, if you skip every single anomaly, it's kind of like FTL. You want to go to fights and events in FTL so that you make sure that you're getting as much stuff as possible. So these are frigates, they're just better against fighters, they're more durable typically, but deal less damage, move more slowly. So they also have some other trade-outs. Oops. There we go. Alright, so we'll have this guy head over here. Now fighters are actually infinitely reusable, which is a little bit weird, but what happens is your fighters end up getting in a damaged state. So if they're destroyed, they end up back in your hangar with half health, and you have to have them at half health until you can get them repaired, which can take a while. Got an extra Fighter Mark 1, so that would let us deploy 2 sets of fighters if we wanted to, which is actually pretty useful. Though we hadn't yet another brush with death, at least our scanner detected the anomaly this time. Tell me more about these anomalies, machine. Anomalies are destinations with higher than normal probability of being very negative or very positive. The reality is a lot of the negatives are fights, and the fights get you resources. So you want to go for as many of them as possible, even if they're negative anomalies, typically speaking. Alright, so here we've got another one. This is going to be our first ground mission, and unfortunately we have a crap team for ground missions, but I think this is hard set up so that it's always useful for this. So we also have to talk to this guy. He's gonna yatter at us for like a million years. Ask how we can help, blah blah blah. Scrappers are pirates, basically. Blah blah blah. Well, they're kind of like more crazy than regular pirates. Ask how he thinks we can turn the Omnis back on. Why the hell would he know? Ask about Mother. Mother is the leader of the Raiders. She is gigantic. She's gigantic. Oops, I forgot to ask the... Ah, shit. Oh well. I can't ask those. Okay. Scrap is basically just pieces of metal and stuff like that that you can use to upgrade your ship and to trade. Ask about theories regarding the shutdown of the Omnis. He knows nothing. Why would he know anything? I mean, he's got some like random theories, but none of them are really any more informed than what you could realistically make out yourself as a person who's not been part of the series. He hands us some fuel, and we get to continue on with our lives. Do you believe what he said, Admiral? Unfortunately, yes. It explains everything we've seen so far. The Omni shut down in the Outer Rim, and so did their tech, including the cluster's folder. That's why these scrappers now run things here. So what should we do now, sir? First thing we need to do is find this Mother. As Bowie said, if she didn't shut the Omnis down, chances are she knows who or what did. If you want to move on, Admiral, open the star map below by clicking on it and choosing your next destination. Otherwise, you might want to stay and check out this ground signal. So we'll definitely want to check out the ground signal. They unlocked our second fighter bay there, which is really, really good. And yeah, we can check out this planet and try and do a ground mission. Hopefully we'll be able to do it. There is a small chance that we don't have anyone who's capable of doing this properly. Oh boy. Okay, so we do have one person that we can send that at least won't die. So we definitely want to do all of these ground missions are actually one of the most profitable things you can do. One of the other reasons that I wanted pilot in combat is that pilot combat tends to actually have double green on this. So you can see that resource extraction is a bit of a problem for us here. We're only getting 20 to 64% of the resources, and we'll lose 0 to 2 commandos, and our guy will get through this just fine. Whereas if I had a pilot combat, as far as I know, every single time when you do this, if you have pilot combat, it's green for resource extraction, commando survival, and officer survival, so that's always better to do that when you can. Anyway, let's go ahead and launch this, because even if we lose 2 soldiers and only get 20% of the resources, that's still a net positive, generally speaking. The amount that you get is usually around the equivalent of 140, 160, so 10% of that, or 20% of that, sorry, is worth more than 2 soldiers, since soldiers are only worth 10% each. And that's the most sort of extreme problem that we could possibly have. Now, these do sort of bias towards the things that you have, but I don't know for sure how well it relates to that. Definitely failing this one, I'm pretty sure. Yep. So we're not going to get any of the stuff from the abandoned factory. And here we take some damage. Now you want this spread out as much as possible. If everyone's like flashing yellow, then you've done a really good job. And we're going to continue. If we retreat, we lose half of the resources. Might be more than that, actually. So you just want to always complete these whenever you can. Alright, nothing found there. And the extraction point. So we lost no soldiers and we got 108 scraps, so way, way better than I was anticipating. Alright. But you can imagine if we were getting like 100% of the resources. I think we did get the full 60% of it there. Alright, so next up we hit the star map and get going to our next destination. And this is where it feels like really obvious that this is a take on that sort of, the ideas behind, what's it called, FTL, but we have to sort of basically make our jumps over to the exits, and we're going to be chased by an ever-increasing tide of bullshit as we go along here. Now, this is a really, really poorly optimized sector for us. So one of the things that you want to do is make sure you're hitting as many places as is sort of possible. Strictly speaking, I think we'll be... Well, we have to go here. Yeah, so we have to go here. There's like no other options as far as that goes. So we'll go there, but after that we've got the ability to go here, or here, and... what I could potentially do is go here, down to here, up to here, then to here, because we want to hit as many events as possible, and you can see the number of planets in each of these. And this one's got 5 with 3 sort of random encounters. This one's got 1 random encounter, this one's got 1 random encounter, but the number of planets also matters, and also having shops counts, so maybe we'll try and see what's going on over there. Either way, we have to jump here. We've got the stuff behind us chasing us, so that's lovely. Alright. Picking up a weak distress transmission from that escape pod shit. If you're getting this, I need your help. My pod's engine is conked out and now I'm on a high-velocity collision course with ship heater. Ask about the ship heater. This is a black hole that they're trying to get away from. If I had pilot, I could do this easily, but what I have to do is try to boost the tractor beam to pull the pod towards the ship, which is only a 50-50 chance, so there's a chance that I fail this. And I kind of hate this, because I know what the bonus is for this. It was clever use of boosted beam, but it wasn't strong enough to pull me away from the ship eater. Soon it'll pass the point of no return. Farewell, Admiral. You tried to help me at least. Yeah, end of transmission. This is why... Okay, this is why I really hate this level of randomness sometimes. Alright, let's upgrade our fuel scavenging efficiency to the maximum. Also, like, the ability to get another pilot, it really is the thing that I really want to be doing right now. Like, getting extra pilots is... Ah, fuck, this is also for getting another pilot. Alright, let's try and do this one. Electric cryopod is another, This one, I think, is an event where nothing happens, so it's just some fluff here. But the planetary expedition, the planetary cryopod is also something that could potentially have another lieutenant in it, so... And this time we have got a double green, so as you can see we've got our officer will return safe. It's actually triple green. Our officer will return safely. We'll get 65 to 95% of the available resources, and we'll only lose 0 to 1 commandos. So a really, really good sort of expedition for us. Lots of these social sort of spy skills, I think. We'll definitely want to just do this on the faster speed here. So we're getting a lot of the perception-based ones. There are some stealth ones. And if we can get this, we do get another person, so perfect. I feel kind of like it's sort of crap that we're getting this after that other thing, but I really wish, because if this guy has command, like, fighter stuff, I'm gonna be so... Okay, they don't, they're scientists as well. Okay, that's fine. Because if it was the other way around, I would have been so mad. It's just like, that guy died for nothing, you guys are shit. Alright. Civilian wreckage, sir. Looks like collided head-on with something in the interstitial tunnel, and we'll just scavenge their scrap here. It doesn't say 50-50 or anything like that. It doesn't have a cost. Like, if it said 4 commandos, then there's a chance that those 4 commandos die. So the way it is with that kind of thing, you just automatically get the stuff, so there's no point in ever saying no to that kind of thing. At least I think so. There might be an event later, but so far it hasn't shown up here. Alright, so regular old shop here. We're going to go ahead and sell this drone just because it's damaged and I don't want to repair it. And we've also got the ability to buy some stuff here. So we're going to buy up 2 more commandos here, and we're going to buy the extra fuel. Those are always really good things to get. We also have the ability to get this Frigate Mark II Juggernaut, which I don't really care to get here. We can also get the Drone Mark II Nano. Nanos are kind of interesting, but they're not very good, especially against the pirate or the scrappers. I don't think they're very good. Frigate Mark I Prototype with Tractor Beam. Tractor Beam's kind of okay, it's not really great. And then we got the X-Beam, the debris catapult. So mostly we just use this place for fuel and for more soldiers, and that's kind of fine, actually. Didn't really need to pick up anything in this particular jump. We got everything, right? Local system map, yeah, okay. So at this point in time, we head down to here, I believe, but let's check what's over here. Okay, this is a shipyard. Actually, I'm going to do something a little bit different here. So let's go ahead and get the navigation scanner upgraded one more time. So this one's an army depot. This one is a mercenary outpost. And there's actually a Omni Forge over there. Part of me wants to go for the mercenary outpost. Mercenary outpost is where you get more lieutenants. And being guaranteed to get a new lieutenant is kind of actually a good thing. Why can't I read this one? That shouldn't be too far, it's 2 jumps. Must be because of the... Alright, well, whatever. Alright, I think we're gonna do the one I was talking about here. I think we go to here, then to here, then to here. That means we're missing out on the mercenary outpost as well as the Omni Forge. Because I'm not really gonna get a ton of use out of the Omni Forge, I don't think. So yeah, because of where this is, you get 1 jump up or down. All your other jumps have to be progressing towards the exit. Sorry, I got R&D for you. Sorry, I hope you don't mind, but since we had a little time on our hands, we went ahead and built a little weapon prototype out of scrap. I think it will really help you blow our enemies up. Don't you think you should have asked for permission first? Oh yeah, you're absolutely right, sir, but it's almost complete. Do you want to try and finish it? So the problem with this is that this is a gamble. The reason this is a gamble is that a weapon sells for 25 if they do that, but you can usually buy them for more. It usually costs more than this to buy them, like a lot more. So if they make a weapon that I'm not going to use, it's a loss of scrap, but we'll go ahead and do it. Like, the worst case scenario is we lose 18 scrap, which is bad, but it's not the worst. Yeah, so we lose 18 scrap because I don't really care about the engine disruptor all that much. But it's a worthwhile go, I think, generally speaking. Alright, battleship wreckage and an anomaly. Lots of scrap potential over here. Scrapper battleship. Shiny ship, yeah, I think I'll scrap it when you're dead, yep. You don't always fight when these guys show up, but there's very little you can do to avoid fights, unfortunately. Alright. Oh yeah, they do have specialist abilities. So, Scrap Protect, Core System, all allied squadrons are always in patch state. This is why their ships are always at half health. And whenever acquiring a new squadron, it comes as patched with a bonus of 30% of unit value as scrap. So this is for if you're playing as their type of ship. They also have the auxiliary system here, the Brutal Deployer, so that actually quarters their health instead of having them, but they deploy much, much faster. So in this case, looks like, actually, yeah, we'll continue with that kind of deployment there. Scrappers pretty much exclusively use fighters and drones, so basically anytime you're fighting against them, that's what you're going to be using. You basically never use drones against scrappers. Now, they are going to recover their fighters if I don't damage their ship fast enough. And I'm just going to kill them before they can do anything, so that's fine. Alright, so let's hit this planet. Alright, so these are really bad. Alright, our officer has a chance to be injured. We'll extract a decent amount of resources. So injured commanders is not the worst thing in the world, but it is annoying. Also, I've never seen this not result in an officer being injured, if I'm totally honest with you, but if I send them, they will get all the resources, so I guess we'll give this a shot. If this, like, results in my officer being injured, I'm going to be both kind of irritated, but I will have a much better impression that that always results in that. Alright, so they've taken 0 damage so far. Taken 1 damage so far. The more damage goes on these guys, the more likely it is they'll survive. Okay, good. So this is actually the first time I've done one of those where they survived. Alright, perfect. I think it's actually not even supposed to be that unlikely for them to survive that. I think it's supposed to be like a 50-50, but it seems like it's always resulting in their being dead. Alright, so I've got to make that hard choice now. I could even go down to here potentially, but I don't think I'm going to. I think we're headed up here. Shipyards are also a pretty good place to go to. I'm just really looking for the 3 events at that 5-planet sector, though. That's, like, kind of what we're after here. R&D for me again? Okay. They're doing nothing. This is where I could get them to develop a weapon or a squadron for, like, practically nothing, and this is a much, much better choice. So, for us, I think that develop a weapon is probably a good idea. Give them go ahead. And even in the worst case scenario, I think this is a profit, because I think that they give us a tier 2 weapon usually. Nope, just tier 1. Actually, a hull breaker is pretty good though, so I'm going to keep that. So we did save a lot of energy off of that investment. I'm actually going to go ahead and equip that, so we'll go with additional weapon docks, and then we'll throw in that hull breaker laser. Alright, so next up we can go to the shipyard. What you always want to do is go to the other system first, and then go to the shipyard, because that way you're capable of getting potentially a little bit more scrap or something like that. Visit our little station, it'll be worth your time, I promise. This guy's basically a creeper. Just gonna say no here. Pushing on, are you? Oh, that's too bad. As far as I know, there's like no way for me to get anything positive out of that, because I need a demolitions specialist. Like, I know how some of these events play out. Transmission from this cargo ship. I'll try to keep this short. We were transporting Xeno. There's a collector around here. You probably guessed it, but it got loose, and thanks to that, no, good captain, we triggered it before jumping ship. We also have an activated self-destruct countdown. Ask what a Xeno is. It's an alien. Okay, so ask what we can do to help. So what I can do is disable self-destruct, so we can get in there a little bit more safely. But this results in this still being a 50-50, which I kind of hate. Send commandos in to save smugglers and grab the cargo. This is a really big payoff if we succeed, but it is a 50-50. Sounds like we lost. I think that's... yep. Yeah, I hate these 50-50s. I don't think I've, like, succeeded in a single one so far. God damn it. Alright, we're gonna pick up 2 commandos. Gonna pick up a little bit of fuel here. And I'm considering getting this advanced disassembling. This gives you an extra 15% of scrap, which is really, really powerful. You can check out what the Fighter Mark II prototype is. That's just tractor beam. You don't actually want tractor beam on this type of ship, so, or on those type of fighters, so I'm gonna ignore that. But we will go ahead and sell the engine disruptor since I don't really need it. This does give me enough to potentially buy the Magneto, which forces all units to target it, which is not really that important for us. It is a Type Mark II, which means more health, more damage, but I don't really care that much. We've also got more fuel potentially, but I think we'll be okay. I'm getting absolutely wrecked on this. I'm glad I'm not on harder difficulty. Only got 8 troops, but we should get another shop before that's an issue. A church battleship. Thank Oberon, an Imperial ship. You are only a child. I am. Everyone on the ship is, Admiral. Ask where the children come from. A ship full of children. I don't understand. We are the children of Theodorus IV, a planet in a church cluster. Unlike most people on our planet, we do not worship the Omnis as gods, and for this we've been persecuted. Blah blah blah. Ask if you can help them. This is actually a false flag operation. These guys are terrorists. So we do have the ask a specialist officer to talk to the children. Hello? Who are you? I'm your liaison officer. I'm here to help you and the other children transition to life on board the NS Odysseus. Good, so he's going to let us on ship. Everything is going according to plan. He's a really, he's not a very good... He's a kid. I'm so sorry to hear about all you've been through. Just terrible. The good news is the NS Odysseus is tolerant of all ways of thinking. Great, I guess. It is great. Personally, I believe the Omnis are the true gods and wait for the devout in the Garden of Light and Metal. You do? Oh yes, and though my heathen shipmates don't share the same conviction, still they are respectful of my beliefs. Get off the ship. What? I said get off the ship and tell the other believers to do the same, but leave the others behind. They believe in the fires. Do you understand me, fellow believer? I understand. I'll tell them immediately. Praise the Omni. He's a little bit gullible, I guess. I don't know. Sir, I've just spoken to the child captain. It seems they have something planned for the ship. What do you mean? I'm not sure, sir. Suffice to say, it's something bad. Something definitely bad. Attack the child battleship by surprise, because that's what this kind of ship is. It's what this kind of game is. Sir, are you feeling alright? Those sweetest children were planning on attacking us, Lieutenant. Then take them as prisoners, sir. I have the feeling they're the kind to let you. You're not going to let us on your ship, are you, Admiral? You lied to me. Smart, Admiral. We wanted to get on that battleship to hurt you. But since we can't do that, we'll just have to do the next best thing. Destroy your battleship in battle. Death to all Imperials. Praise the Omni Gods. You've ambushed the enemies. Yay. Okay. What a world. Okay, so this is the one instance where we actually have to use drones, because these guys tend to almost always use frigates. Different factions tend to use different types of fighters, so we'll do frigate drone because we don't want to have the penalty of fighting... we don't want to use fighters against them. So the church ships have the bonus that their weapons that do not deal direct damage start off more charged than normal. So that's sort of how they work. Looks like this one actually has a weapon system that already starts off loaded as well as an upgrade. That's not standard for them, that's just this guy had that. So this doesn't have to be paid for, we only have to pay for hull when it is like one of the full blocks goes away. Not all your children are like that, are they? No, basically all kids are like that. That's the standard archetypical human child. Alright, let's open up our system map here. It doesn't actually matter too much which one we go first here, so... It might, but there's no way for me to know. Passing through some magnet... this one's just we lose some fuel. This is pretty bad, but... I don't want to lose up our squadrons, so we're just gonna have that. It's almost invariably more annoying to try and put up to repair fighters than it is to just get more fuel, but that does kind of suck. I only need to do 4 more jumps and then we get free fuel depot, so after you beat a sector boss, you automatically get a fueling station, so... Hey, saw your battleship there, so I thought I might as well ask. We need a hyperventilator 23 to make a generator go. Any chance you got one kicking around? I think we got some scrap around here to pay you with, somewhere. So... I'm okay with this, I hate when our squadrons get broken down, but it's a Fighter Mark 1. I was sort of rolling to hope that was going to be one of the Fighter Mark 1s, because we got a spare one. I can't remember if she actually remembers to give us scrap or not. You're an engineer, give us the 23. You're a generally good guy, aren't you? End of transmission, sir. Guess she forgot about looking for the scrap. Yeah, she forgot. Right, well, sometimes I don't mind doing a good thing for people when it's something I don't care about, but I did have to roll the dice on that because that could have really sucked otherwise. Scrapper ship, sir, looks abandoned. I'm picking up a scanner metal lens upgrade. Why would they leave that behind? Those immediate radius gun probably didn't see any advantage taking it with them. Well, it's ours now. So, plus 30 scrap and a navigation scanner plus 1. So we got a free upgrade to our navigation scanner over here. Which is okay. It's not my favorite upgrade. Most of the time you're just looking to get as many events as possible, so you don't need to know what's in a system too much. No, it's a trap. Great. So they get to deploy their stuff first, and I just sort of have to sit here like a chump and take it. Fantastic. Alright. Fortunately for me, I will be pretty much ready to fight them before anything too bad happens. Send our drones off, fight this thing. So that was an attack that he used against our fighters rather than against our main ship, which is something that can happen in this game. I can actually retreat this unit here. Alright. And we might as well pop out a fighter, even though it's going to be a little bit vulnerable against this kind of ship here. This thing has to retreat as well now. Oh, shit. I might have done that too late. Nope. Okay. Alright, they're down to enough hull that I will kill it with this hull breaker, so I just have to block them from getting at my damaged ship there. There we go. Your ships can get as low as they want as long as they aren't destroyed, then you still get the full benefits there, so... Alright, that's everything. Time for us to go fight a boss. Got 280, so I can't get an upgrade, which would have been kind of nice, actually. But let's go. And you basically repeat this like 3 times per each chapter. Sir, scrapper battleship. Looks like one of Mother Sector's cronies. Incoming transmission. Tells battleship in my sector? More likely than you think. Where is she? Where is Mother? You think I'm going to tell you just because your ship's all shiny and appetizing? That's my mom we're talking about. Oh boy. Alright. So the boss versions of these ships are actually substantially more difficult to beat than the standard version, which is kind of annoying, but that is sort of the way of things. This guy's going to be able to pump out an unlimited number of these sort of fighters here, which is kind of how these guys work, but actually I'm going to try this. He might run into me. I don't think he does. If we're in those asteroid belts, they're actually worth a lot defensively. He did run into me. Because they basically have to deal enough damage to your fighter, or to the environment before they're able to deal any damage to your fighters there. Alright, so... these ones explode, by the way, which does mean that they've managed to damage my frigates, but should be fine. He's going to bypass me there. I'm going to actually just bypass him here. I'm way ahead in terms of like the hull damage department. Actually, I don't want to fire the hull breaker laser. It's 30 damage, and there's like, he's only got 13 left on the hull here. Boom. And I should be able to kill this before he can actually do any more damage, so... And, like, it's fine to lose your frigate here, because we get so much scrap from beating the sector boss. It's 560 here. This is not my best run, like, by a large margin. I've had way better runs than this before. Alright. Sector 2 out of 3. And between each of those, we get one of these little waypoint stations, which we get to buy fuel, troops, repair our stuff here. So we can repair our fighter and our frigate for a little bit of scrap there. We can fuel back up, we can get more commandos. I actually want to go like up to 16 potentially, maybe. I can't even get that many, they ran out. You can also heal your officers, you can repair your hull, you can do all sorts of stuff in one of these places here. So after that, what you do is you head out in your star map and go to the next sector. So in any event, that is going to be our first episode. Pretty quick, just trying to sort of abridge as much as possible there. This game gets very, very wordy. Each chapter has a sort of pattern of the same sort of thing. Like, you arrive in the chapter, they talk your head off, you go a couple jumps, there's a person on a planet, they talk your head off to describe the current situation in that one particular sector, and then you have like a bunch of little quests where they talk at you about stuff that's a little bit easier to digest. But in any event, we can take a look at where we're going to be going and try and plan out our pathway a little bit better than last time. Gonna be tricky to find a great path in this one. what we're probably going to be looking at is going down here, to here, to here, to here, to here, to the exit. That looks like the sort of best route to me there. That starts us off with an army depot. We'll hit a mercenary outpost, which is nice. We'll get a shipyard over there, which is pretty good when you're just about to get to the exit. And then we'll have another shop of whatever kind. I don't really care by that point. But anyway, that's going to be our episode for today. I hope you found this one enjoyable. And of course, as always, hope to see you guys all next time.